Good morning. I am higher vibrations and so are you. And boy, oh boy, has it been a show. There's been so much happening. The energy is so intense. Most of us have been having such an increased a number and kind intensity of ascension symptoms. We're not even sure that it's ascension symptoms anymore until we get together and have these kinds of conversations. And that's why I'm here. So an ascension symptom is a profound change in mind and body and or mind and body whatever, one or the other or both. And we notice that they occur during the process of ascension. I have a hair in my mouth. uh, and while we're evolving and becoming more of our true self, truly is what's happening in the spiritual way. We find that there's things that change in us. There's pangs in our body. There's evolution in our awareness and our knowing and all kinds of fascinating things. Often we have been told that 90 to 95% of our DNA is junk DNA. And then we've been realizing or discovering, or at least being validated by those who tell people what to think, that this DNA isn't actually junk at all. Surprise, surprise. It's actually dormant DNA. And so while this DNA comes out of dormancy, there are growing pains involved, spiritual growing pains. And so we're noticing these things, these shifts that happen simultaneously across the planet, no matter what continent, climate you're in. And so we come here to validate one another. So if that's you and you're noticing weird stuff happening, stick around. We're going to talk about a bunch of it today. Let's say hi to everybody in the audience. I see some chatter going on. I'll get to you in a second. I'm just going to wanted to mention a little bit about some of the things that I've been experiencing and those that we've talked with others about, specifically over this past week. I would say it's been, probably about 9 days worth of intense. And, 2 days ago, it kind of like mellowed out a little bit and we've kind of been doing a little bit better, but we're still in that intensity and we expect it to be for, another 7 days or so, so at least. I've been noticing in particular, and a lot of us have been talking about, has to do with the physical sensation of anxiety. Many people who tune in here, who join us in the group chats and stuff like that, have a history of anxiety disorder or chronic anxiety, panic attacks, and we're noticing that the individuals who have a history of that, when we first start to get the physical sensation of anxiety, then it will trigger often that individual's, oh no, I'm going into another panic attack. And so the anxiousness, the anxiety is then like grasped onto and it becomes more pronounced. So this physical sensation that I'm talking about, your body quivering in the core here, the center of the heart center space, noticing like this weird stuff with the heart area of the body, all this left side of the body stuff, the past little while, but especially the past week or so, noticing like pains, almost like it feels like a jolt of energy, like electricity for a second, zaps. We're also having like weird like weaknesses and strange pains. I've noticed that now on the other side of it, we have been kind of evolving through it, that we've been having purging on this side now. So I'm noticing just on this side of the body, weird pockets, I don't know, patches of like acne like things. I don't want to call it acne because it doesn't seem like that's what it is, but there's a purge, like, so you're talking about the back of the arm, the back of the shoulder, down the arm, even the armpit, the whole body on this side. I noticed there was like a patch right like that all along the side of my, this is mirrored. I don't know how to turn it off. So this is actually my left side. But yeah, noticing this side of just like all this stuff purging out of the pores. I've been told by a few different conversations and with spirit. I use the word spirit for just a blanket word that covers my guides, all the different energies and galactics and those who have passed, ascended masters, all kinds of individuals coming through in our channeling state that we all do. I'm not the only one that channels. It's just we don't always realize that's what's happening. Often it's the credit's given to someone else, and that's okay. It doesn't matter if you know where it's coming from, in my opinion, as long as it's coming in. Anyhow, is that when we are purging a lot of the time, we assume it's all coming out only through mucus and through bathroom trips, right? But in fact, there's also the bulk of our purge, the real purge that they're always talking about, is moving out through our pores, through sweat. And that's what we're having weird sweat stuff, like the hot, cold flashes and the weird irregular body temperature stuff. Noticing, even though our body core temperature has dropped dramatically, particularly over the past decade. It's really interesting. I don't know how many of you keep track of that, but it's fascinating if you look into that. Anyway, as it moves through our pores, the stuff that we're purging, it gets often will get caught up, like stuck in the edge of the epidermis. So like when we're leaving the skin, then they'll be like, it'll get kind of clogged there, right? Like an ingrown hair. And that's when you're noticing these acne-like symptoms. It's a purging out of our body. We have patches of weird, like rashes and stuff on our skin as a result of this. Often you'll notice this weird, substance, I don't know, like greasy stuff that's just not typical for sweat leaving the body. And a lot of that's been happening on the left side lately, especially after this purge of what just happened. I know that there's a lot more to happen. And unfortunately, I saw that there was some chatter with Cosmic Detective earlier. I was wondering what she was talking about before Vegan Vixen's comment of what it's like for right now. Cosmic Detective has some really awesome insight into astrology. So to go further though, and then the dreams, the sleep and the dream stuff, man, I don't know about you guys, but the past 2 nights has been so freaking active in dream time. There's been so much knowledge and wisdom, like and I'm able to retain it in a way that I'd never had before. It seems like I've always had some kind of a grasp of it, but this is different. This is if, I just waking up instead is walking into the other room instead of, like it's been before, where you're like, when you're coming out of it, it's fading, you're barely able to access. And then you kind of like have like it's like on the tip of your tongue, but you don't really fully know exactly what happened. You have a vague recollection. This is different. This is like, it's weird. It's something is happening. You know what I mean? And the kind of knowledge that's being brought forward in these conversations is astounding for me. So anyway, not to mention the fact that sleep is really difficult to have these days. I don't know how you guys are doing with that, but I'm extremely exhausted. Oh my goodness. And the amount of water that my body has consumed, my appetite is crazy, non-existent. I don't even like orange juice anymore. Like you guys know me, you guys who know me and orange juice. And like, I've dumped out so much orange juice because I've gotten it just out of habit, and my body doesn't want it. I'm not interested in just about anything right now. Just non-existent appetite, incredible need for water, salt. I'm noticing that I am eating salt. Like I'll just put salt on my palm and just lick it, like that's something that's happening. These weird headaches. Now, for me, they're typically right around here, but a lot of people are reporting that, because I'm having it over here too, but some people are reporting only like on one side or the other, kind of like a headband to where it's at. But it's just this weird, dull ache that won't go away. Every once in a while, there's a zing to it. Along with that, we're in the middle of a lot of energy, and we're expected to have more and more of it. And we are noticing that while we're evolving through this window of time and this existence, that there are more and more people that maybe don't resonate with us. We had been having partnership and communicating with one another, and then suddenly we're shedding those relationships. Those relationships are no longer serving us. So we're saying, not even saying goodbye really, because both parties just seem to be parting ways. And at the same time, old partners, old friends, old family like ties are introducing themselves into our sphere right now. So I'm finding this to be super fascinating and interesting. You know what I mean? Like, there's a call for community. Like, a lot of people are all of a sudden right now, for at the same time, feeling this drive to connect with others, to be in a community, but not the ones that they are saying goodbye to. It makes sense though. We're saying, there's also, along with that, there's a global mourning happening. We're saying goodbye to ourselves, who we were, who we knew ourselves to be, as much as we're saying goodbye to these fellows, without any kind of, ill will. It's just simply neither party is serving one another, and there's a natural parting of ways. But we're mourning that. There's a need to allow yourself to observe all emotion that's moving through us. Speaking of, there's weird crying stuff. This weird, like, emotion. It's not just crying for me. I'm noticing other emotions like irritability, like just boom, and then it's gone, and allow yourself to feel it, to express it. And you'll notice that it'll promptly move on out. So it's just, there's a lot going on. So I'm gonna say hi. I can see Vegan Vixen's been talking, but I see that she's talking to somebody else, so I'm not going to click that. Welcome, Vegan Vixen. Hello, Cosmic Detective. Patriot Hero, good afternoon. Hope you are doing well. Yeah, it's been really intense, I can tell you that. And I'm hearing that we will have a solar flash, and that will awaken us, and some of us will have like superpowers, like the superheroes from the comics. Now, this isn't entirely untrue, but my perspective isn't. What I've been shown isn't the perspective I've been shown isn't this big event. We're in the big event. Spirit explains this to me by saying that all things in spirit, when they communicate with us, they use what we call, like cliff notes. And so the event is, for maybe even from their perspective, more of a momentary thing, where it's actually, for us, it's drawn out over a period of a decade, and we're in the middle of it right now, and so it is happening. The solar activity that's picking back up again, that we expected it to, as this other not a comet's been coming through, this 3-eye atlas. You can look that up and find some more information about that. There's a lot of really, studious people who have much more information than I do about that. Though you can see how it's closer. The closer and closer it gets to us, the more solar activity we have, and it's expected to Kazemi the sun near or around the 1010 portal. There have been different reports of the timing. The one that really hit home, because I've been hearing about October 22nd for a really long time in my world, since from Spirit, and here it comes. So anyway, as this comet, not a comet, gets closer and Kazemi's the sun, on its way there, we're having a heightened solar activity experience, you know what I mean? And so, and there it definitely is going to be some really profound stuff happening between now and December as a result of this, not a comet, you know what I mean? So anyway, I know there's a lot of conversation about what that is and isn't, and it just obviously, there's something really powerful about that. However, to answer your question a little bit more thoroughly, Patriot Hero, I do feel like, yes, we are in it, and there are things happening, and we are getting superpowers. We have them. They are in our DNA already. We're just being reunited with our own stuff. The way Spirit showed it to me one time, it's like they're just handing you your purse back. They're tired of carrying your shit around. Here you go. Take your stuff. Because so many of us are like, oh, no, you give that to somebody else more deserving than me. And they're like, no, dude, please take your shit. Like it's helping you and us. It's helping everybody, so anyway, this reunion of our gifts, our abilities, looks like a superhero in a lot of ways. We have the potential for flight if we didn't have so much junk surrounding our plate here. If we didn't have such a full plate, if we got it off our chest, if we expressed ourselves and let ourselves unlock all of that, then this harmony place here, it produces flight. No, I don't have experience from a personal standpoint, but I mean, from me doing that, because I still have a lot of work to do myself. Every one of us do. Though if you research the newer releasings of the knowledge about the bee, the bumblebee, and how it flies and stuff like that, it actually will kind of bring you down a rabbit hole of awareness there. So Nanad says, yes, junk DNA is my hair. So I lost it in 3 months. I shaved my head. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that our bodies are pushing out right now. I've been hearing a lot of this hair stuff, a lot of people talking about, and we know that we do store quite a lot in our hair. There's like, remember that whole Britney Spears thing that happened? That was interesting. I forgot all about that. That's kind of a little bit of, I wonder what that really was, kind of thing. Anyway, so when we purge, we purge in every way. And so you'll notice that for me, I had the same thing. My hair was like getting thinner and I was starting to really notice it. Then all of a sudden, and I started to see all these really short hairs. They're all the same length all over my head. And at first I thought, wow, I'm doing something to my hair that's making it break off more, So then I used oh goodness, now I can't remember it. Are you freaking rosemary oil, coconut oil, and castor oil combination. It's like half cup of castor, half cup of coconut oil, and like 10 drops of rosemary. And then you just put some of that on your scalp once a week or so and let it sit on there for, about 4 hours or longer, and then wash it out. The quantity is way more than I needed, by the way. And so I did the first time and I put it all on my head. Bad idea. Anyway, after that, I noticed my hair growing even stronger and more, and it started to do the same thing again. So anyway, there's the story about that. There's a lot of release that needs to be had from being released through all of our body. Sending love to all. Thank you. Good to see you, Terry Love. Our hair has been shedding a bit. Yeah. So a lot of people have been talking about the hair stuff. And, I can say that there's other things. A lot of us have been talking about this dental purging too. So a lot of people, like, all of a sudden they're having either oral trauma, their mouth is becoming like, all of a sudden their teeth are going bad. They're having all kinds of stuff like this. They're it's a purge. I know we store a lot in our teeth also. And so, I'm not really sure what that's supposed to look like, but I know what it does look like right now. I keep seeing that this is going to resolve itself. There's some type, and what Spirit said last night, they called what we're doing a reset of the spiritual system. And system is not the same as we talk about with like money system and stuff. It's just the thing that is the spiritual. You know what I mean? And this reset is more in the language I would probably use for it. Instead of reset would be like getting you back on alignment and back on the road, on track. But that's what Spirit called it last night, the spiritual reset that's happening right now. Do you guys feel heavy, like in the lower body, and bloating? A lot of this, I was actually going to mention the back, and though I've been noticing it most with the upper back, the middle upper back, right between the shoulder blades. There is some stuff in the lower back, but it does feel connected. There is a bunch happening. So right the opposite of your belly button, your navel, if you follow that back to where you're in the back of your back, right to where your navel is, the entrance into this part of your body with energy, with light, with, it's like God juice. I don't know how else to describe it exactly. It's coming in through here. And a lot of us are like, are used to saying, sending out anything that's coming in. So we'll stop the flow. And so we're encouraged to, use your discernment. You can feel what it feels like. Listen, listen with your heart before you accept something, and you can hear what its code is. You can feel it. You can feel that it's love. You can feel that it's medicine. You can feel that it'll assist you. You can even feel how much of it will be healed in your body, and then it comes in. It just comes in. It's just, and that's what's happening. It's this sacrum God juice. Looks like a rainbow, but it also moves like a conscious river that floats. I don't know how to explain it. Cosmic Detective is talking about the hair. Yeah, and I've read a lot of people going through that. It seems it's really super common, and so hi Mila, this is Colleen, and everyone, sending much love to Mila and everyone. Sending love back. Good to see you. Vegan Vixen says, I'm 66 and I've been having period pains. There you go. It's crazy how much of this we're having right now. There's been a lot of people reporting pregnancy symptoms and of in any way for them to be pregnant. Many individuals who are describing pregnancy symptoms are men that just don't know that's what that means, because they don't have that experience. But there's so we're shifting. So what blocks these lower three chakras? We got fear, we got guilt, or shame, and we got guilt. The root, the sacral, and the solar plexus. And those three chakras are now becoming something new. And so all the things that block them are coming up. So all of these old things, these faulty identities and labels, these limitations we've presented ourselves, but we've accepted from others as they presented them to us over the years of a lifetime of what that means to be you and how to limit yourself, is all coming up. The fears, the insecurities, the sensations of lack, all of those things are meant to be purged. So it can be then balance these three chakras and become this new toy. It's something that's, this evolution is really beautiful. We're talking to each other about the hair shedding. It's really been a conversation point for a lot of people. I dream every night, says Patriot Hero. 2, 3, or 4 dreams a night. Awesome. I wonder if you keep a dream journal. It's really fascinating to look back on that stuff. I tend to not go back and read through my journals, but something happens where I end up, for one reason or another, opening a spot looking for something in particular, and I find things that I needed to find. Weird sleep cycles, weird eating cycles, says Cosmic Detective. Me too, Mila. I don't like Cuban coffee anymore. It's weird. Our favorite things are done, that I orange juice is just one of my staples. I can't tell you how many times that people have commented on that. All right. Shiv says, been feeling so tired and weak and not enough sleep, but as if I am in a dream state all the time for the last few days. Dehydration and constipation. Yeah, dude. It goes on to say, and today I started to feel as if my body's vibrating. Energies are way so strong. Yes, they're really super strong. And the vibration body thing, yeah, that actually bothers me the most of all of the different ascension symptoms that we have, because there's this detect, I don't know, kind of like I guess a spider does on their web. You feel the vibration, so you're more aware of your surroundings, and so it's not as possible to go into that sleep state, I find, or that rest state, even in a meditative state. I'll be aware of my body, and maybe I'm supposed to be, but that's something I'm trying to, I feel like I don't want to be doing when I'm in that state. Tired and weak, and I'm also noticing my strength diminish, like you're saying, feeling weak before in this earlier part of your comment, the feeling I don't know, not quite as strong as I normally am, you know? And yeah, like you're in a dream state. I've been feeling that too. I keep wondering, because, there's always that conversation of which one's the dream, right? And I don't know. It just feels like there's something more to it now than more than ever before. Vegan Vixen wants to know if there's anyone in the UK here at this time. Um, yeah, good shout out to UK. I want a lot of awesome friends out that way. Smells like Saturn in Pisces retrograding, saying bye to a 30-year-old karmic cycle, Cosmic Detective. Thank you. Yeah, and then also is it Uranus is retrograding in a couple of days on Saturday, so 6 days from today. I didn't look to see where it's retrograding into though. Um, I should know that, but sore tongue, sore mouth, teeth aches. So there we go, Vegan Vixen. Thank you for chiming in. A lot of stuff to do with this throat chakra stuff. I know each one of us are in a different place, and our chakras, what's being healed at this time, like for on an individual level. And then there are like, I don't know, we call it global population. Population is the right word, because there's a lot of individuals here that have come here. You know what I mean? There's a different thing. So this you're noticing that there's a global group of this, the lower three chakras we had described, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus chakras. And then there's also a lot of this stuff to do with like this area. So like the throat, the higher heart, and the heart chakra. This is another of the trio that's doing something really advanced, I guess. I'm noticing I'm spending a lot of more time in the crown chakra, and finding myself resolving and just kind of just investing in these different like worldly investments that I've had. Like we're noticing that as we release these attachments, then we're able to see things from a broader perspective. We often would say higher perspective, but that implies that there's a wrong way to see something. Everyone sees things the way they're supposed to. If you're having the throat chakra stuff, one thing that will really help is to do salt rinses, meaning like salt water, or just put salt directly in the mouth, under the tongue, or on the tongue. Just you don't need to drink like a gallon of this stuff. That'll usually make you puke. But like, so, rinsing with warm salt water, and drinking salt water, small amounts of salt water really does help. This headache in the gums that has been coming in with each of these solar flares, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the solar activity, but we're expecting to have more. There was some pretty interesting activity happening in Nevada yesterday, and so there's just a lot going on. And that was direct Earth facing when the solar flare happened, so there's a lot going on. As this throat chakra healing continues to accelerate, we notice the solar flares in our mouth more. And so that's you'll notice it. Like I'll look at these measurements, these scientific measurements for the validation of others at this point. I found it very useful earlier on to have like the Schumann and the solar flares to go and say, see, wow, okay, I validated. That's why I'm feeling this way. Until you kind of figure out what it means when you feel that way. So then now I don't have to look to know. I'll look to, and sometimes we look to show and it's not there. And it's like, and then later on it pops back up and we found out it was in a blackout or something like that. So there's a lot about this mouth area. Also remembering to bring in this sky blue light through this area and purge it. We've been directed to bring light directly behind the throat. So like if you went like this and went to the back, like right there at the crooks of your neck and head, this is your head, this is your neck, right here. And in that spot, bring in this blue light and then move it out through the mouth as a continual flow. It clears this area. And it does help energetically in meditation to do this in a meditative state. I often will do this in the shower. I like to use water to amplify the spiritual conductivity of what we're doing. Jim says, hello, just about to partake in Australian bush camp with 150 non-normies. Awesome, Jim. I am super excited for you. I can't wait to hear what you have, your experiences about. I'm excited for you. Common Detective agrees. Yeah, dude, you are Superman, and you're becoming more and more of it. Each one of us are. We're being reunited with our superpowers. The kiddos call us superheroes. I remember having that conversation with my child years ago when she came to that realization. Crazy, dry feet. Weird that, yeah, I actually hadn't connected that but I'm anyone else. That's really interesting. This weird stuff with the feet and really itchy feet, and because probably because it just something's going on there. I typically will have the itchy feet when my body wants me to ground. Sometimes like you can ground in flowing water, like even coming through like your spout, like I've been known to, in times of need, climbing up on the counter, sitting on the edge of the counter and having my feet under a slow drip of the water. But there's something else more than that that's going on. Yes, been in able to remember dreams, being able to remember dreams. Yeah, dude, it's weird, right? It's cool, but it's like, wow. I like to be Catwoman. Imagine looking like that. Yeah, dude, she's maybe a little bit more balanced version of Catwoman. I maybe right. Catwoman's got a lot of trauma to heal. She's still in her man-hating phase. She needs to get over herself. Wonder Woman, yeah, with the lasso of truth and the invisible plane, right? The new version of Wonder Woman is really interesting. There's a lot of code that was in that one. I watched that a little while ago. I don't know how new it really is. I think it came out like 10 years ago. I did the castor oil treatment. Mila talk about a few weeks back. It worked. Yeah, it really does. It's fascinating how it transforms your hair. It really does. So just to reiterate, anyone, it's a half cup of castor oil is 333 right now. Half a cup of coconut oil and about 10 drops of rosemary oil, and mixed together. And then you don't use the whole amount, but you put that on your scalp, and then leave it there for about 4 hours. It's amazing. Sarah Connor. It's funny with the Sarah Connor references I've been seeing lately. It's because there's so much of this like AI and tech stuff, and it's like, what would Sarah Connor say today, kind of thing. Right? Has anyone felt like you have a chest pain? Like, is this it? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have had that a lot this last week. A lot. So much that I wrote up a will just in case, like it's crazy. But everyone's been having it, or a lot. Everybody I've talked to have had it. This weird heart, the vibration in the heart cavity area, weird stuff with the left side of the body, all of this stuff that like jolts of electricity in the arm and the back behind the heart, all kinds of stuff. So that was like the first thought too. It's like, but everyone's having these heart palpitations and these heart activations. It was the physical sensation of anxiety is the translation I got from it. So I mean, is it this, or is it, I mean, is this it? Am I gonna leave so soon? Yeah, I knew exactly what you meant. Yeah, and it's difficult for me. I agree with you. Difficult for me to not go to the panic, to the mortality of it. Leslie, I'm totally with you. It's and doing my best to not go into the place of fear really, really does, but it does really good if you can do that. I've gotten better at it, but there's always that momentary, oh, is this it? What's happening now? Cosmic Detective says, I've thought that so many times, Leslie, and here I am. Yeah, I know. And I feel like I'm dramatic afterward looking back at it. I kind of like, oh, this is how I go, kind of thing. But Yeah, it's very interesting. I had to do a 3-day water and soap fast, soup fast, a couple of weeks ago. Now I'm very mindful of vibrations of food I'm ingesting. Awesome. Awesome. Bone broth was the soup. Yeah. I'm also noticing this, uh, like, we're in a semi fasting state, a lot of us. Some people see, just everyone's different, right? Some people will, when I have these conversations, they'll say, wow, I'm exactly the opposite. It's something wrong here. No, that's just everyone's different. Most people are doing this, like, all of a sudden we need to fast. So just have no desire for dense foods. And then, just like you said, like, we're like, wow, there's something more in that my body just had gotten used to, and so it didn't really detect it, and now it is. What I've been doing is straight up water and tea. I had coffee a couple of times. My body didn't mind that, but, like, it's not, you know really much more than that. I have tried. I've chosen to, because my body also with the weakness. Oh, here we go. Because this comment, I'll bring this one up. Deborah says, yes, Mila's strength diminished, harder to work out. And because of that, I'm like, is that because I haven't had any, like, a lot of nutrients put in my body recently, so then I'll, like, let's go make something to eat. And then we find that, you don't want to eat any of it. You had fun making it, maybe. I did. But yeah, it's just weird, interesting thing. September 7th is when, okay, back into Taurus is when Uranus is in retrograde. I have it written as the 6th, but often I'll write it from the night before, because I'm typically awake at least until 5 o'clock in the morning these days. That's what we're doing right now. And so, uh, going to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning, and so there's a lot of, like, um, morning people in the audience that are probably shocked by that, but that's just that's how we're rolling right now. You know, Vegan Vixen says, I dreamt that I lost my baby grandson and ran out of the supermarket screaming his name. I was so distraught and woke up in a terrible state. I'm sorry to hear that was the dream that you had last night. I know that there are a lot of things coming forward for us to reminding us to release our attachments. Not to say, um, not to say that we're, like, removing our uh, role and our presence in their life and their presence in ours. It's simply removing. Um, I don't know how to describe it, and I don't know how to explain it. But it's removing these investments and kind of releasing each person into themselves. And when we have these types of dreams, often that's what's happening, is we're opportunity to have the experience so we can release some aspects of them, and then we also enrich and strengthen what we do have. It's difficult to fully explain, though. I am sorry that you had that experience. Not ever any fun when it happens. um, I have I have a headache, so painful. Third eye as well, says Cacao with Casu. Yeah, dude, there is. It's crazy, this third eye stuff, and also, like, I'm purging, like, I'm scraping all kinds of stuff coming off of there, like the stuff that comes off the side of your nose. Like, like, it's really, there's something going on here. I know we're purging a lot from our third eye. We're releasing a lot of stuff that's kind of been, like, blocking our third eye. You can kind of see that, like, it'll light up pink. They a lot of different shapes and stuff these days, not only just when I'm on screen, like in the mirror too. Sometimes I've wondered if it's just my background that's coming up, but it's not. Anyway, um thank you so much for your comment there, Cosmic Detective. um the strangest things happened between my son and I earlier. He rang me as his partner saw a big flash in their street and the power went out while we were on the phone. The strangest sound, which was not of this world, interrupted our call. It was a frequency that I have never experienced before. My son tried to record it but couldn't. I knocked both our it knocked I it knocked both our phones off for half an hour. WTF. interesting. I know. I kind of heard some. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I've been hearing something about these weird, and the fact that you're in the UK, because I have heard about this weird stuff in the UK. I've forgotten about that these things flutter in and flutter out. But yeah, there's some very interesting energies happening there. You know, we're having these weird like sonic booms all over the country here too. That's causing this sound after most people don't detect. I've noticed it's very interesting. Like it'll have like this weird sound that lingers for a while, and many people aren't seeming to notice it or something. I'm not sure what that's all about, but along with the stuff that when it's as um, we're shifting through a lot of different things right now. We have a lot of ancestral um, and the what do you call it, the lineage of your soul, like all of your incarnations leading up to this time. There's a lot of stuff piled up that hasn't been resolved, that hasn't been able to be addressed, and so it's now coming up, and a lot of us don't even really know why we're having an emotion anymore. Hello, Hugo, good to see you, welcome. um, is that it's just coming up to be felt. We don't need to know why, where it's coming from, how it's there. Like I'm just like y'all. Like there's this need to analyze, dissect, discover. I don't know if this is like something we've been taught to do or something that we've, like uh, I don't know, but we don't need to do that. It's not helping us. It's not helping anything in the situation because it prevents, it stops, it halts our expressing of the emotion, our experiencing it, feeling it, observing it. Leaning into the pain is not our first reaction. What happens when someone like, you know, you pull away, it hurts. So you pull away. Same with emotion, but we're being guided. We need to feel that. We need to let ourselves feel that emotion, express that emotion so it can go. Otherwise, it settles down on the couch and won't leave for years. Eats up all your food, kind of. The one of a visitor like this. Then and so, this is a reminder to just let yourself feel it, whatever it is that's coming in. Just feel it, and as it's felt, it's released. It gets to move out, and it has the it can be honored. See, the thing is, a lot of us don't even know what kind of trauma we really had. Let's be honest, like straight up about that. I mean, like a lot of us don't even realize the depth of the trauma that we've endured in this lifetime alone. And I'm not talking about any of their stuff, the previous incarnations and so on. And so allowing yourself to observe it without trying to dissect it will make it so you can feel it, because as it comes up, you'll find out. It'll once you let yourself feel it and just simply observe it without judgment, just be in it, then it starts to make sense after the fact. All right, and this is the guidance that I'm being given. I'm being guided to tell people this today. That was one of the biggest messages from the guides last night. I had some pretty profound experiences, and that was one of the main things, is reminding people to allow that emotion to go. Emotion is energy in motion. It's not meant to stick around, and it will if you want it to. If you show it, that there's a desire for it to be there by grabbing onto it, holding onto it, observing it, leaning away from it while we do that, that away from it, not letting yourself feel it, there's this weird loyalty that happens with these emotions, as if they're separate consciousnesses from ourselves. I know that sounds weird, but this is it works out that way. And so instead, just allow yourself to feel it, to let the energy continue its motion. Then knowledge and understanding will then come in right after that. Excuse me. Um, You're exactly right on that. Overthinking, it creates more cray cray. It sure does. It's very fascinating how that really works out too. Like the more that we and like these, and then we're getting these flashbacks of incarnations beyond this one, as well as this moment, this lifetime, things that happen in this lifetime. And as these flashbacks happen, it's a lot, right? And I find it, I want to uncover it. I want to understand it, especially when it's a past life, because you're like, wow, they did that. That was really how things went. That makes so much sense. How did I not know that? And all of this like fun, like archaeological kind of stuff, you feel like that eh, but we aren't meant to do that right now, at least as much, because that holds on to it. That stops its motion forward. So allow yourself to simply observe what you're being shown, experience the motion that's coming in, and it will make sense down the road. Maybe not in my time, but in my time, because it's my higher self time, right? Vegan Vixen says, why I asked if anyone is in the UK is because I wondered if anyone would be attending the London protest on the 13th. I was going to, but have been told to stay away due to an event, quote unquote. Interesting. The 13th is the Kazemi Day. That's the Mercury superior conjunction. Superior solar conjunction. That's the Kazemi Day. There's also a Kazemi of Maki Make on the 4th of the following month. Today is the last day of August. So to me, in my head, it's already September. And so I'm talking about quite a bit down the road. But anyway, yeah, is anyone going to that? Ask Vegan Vixen. Vegan Vixen, I wouldn't go. Amanda Lawrence just put out a video yesterday explaining September and what's happening. She doesn't uploaded PP. I don't know what that means. But thank you. I actually I love Amanda Lawrence. It would be cool to have her on the show at some point. She's very real. But I don't think we'll see her much this month now. I think she's done for a bit. Um, I did watch that video, and she actually was saying in there something about, and I really relate to that resonated with me about how September is the time where you really kind of, this is the time that you reap what you've sown, and you don't always fully realize exactly what it is until like closer to Christmas or something like that. But this is really the time that, so people are putting more focus into this intention right now. So thank you for bringing that up, Tommy. If anybody wants to, so you can see how to spell her name. It's spelled differently than you would think for her last name. She's pretty cool. I dig her. Vegan Vixen, I wouldn't. And you guys are already talking to each other. Anyone else feeling the need to move? Yeah, I am selling everything and moving into the future. I don't know where I'm going, but trust in the universe. Awesome, Omega. I do feel like a lot of I've been seeing and hearing a lot of people talking about it too. It's crazy how many like moving trucks and stuff I've been seeing around the area on top of these conversations that I've had. Along with that, speaking of moving, moving in a different way too, like yesterday and the day before yesterday, that was, even though there's Ascension Symptoms, the quaking inside the heart center and all that stuff has been so intense, like it calmed down just enough. And I've noticed, it's the story of mosquito. Mosquito is okay. So here it is. So buffalo, looking around at its family herd, looks around and notices that, his family is starving. There is very little grass left. And, baby buffalo is very, family oriented, and also is tired of feeling the pangs of hunger. And so baby buffalo prays to Great Spirit and asks, Great Spirit, will you help us? We are starving and we need your help. We need food. And then goes to bed, goes to sleep, knowing that Great Spirit is going to deliver them in the following day. Great Spirit always comes in and assists them when asked properly. He addressed the owners. He addressed all his relations, and done properly. He knows that the effectivity is always 100%. And upon waking, he finds that he's met still by empty fields, no food, no vegetation, and a starving family. And what's more is all of a sudden this bug appears, the mosquito, and it stings them, it bites them, and it hurts, and they're freaking out and they're upset, and he curses the day and says, why, Great Spirit, why? I asking you to feed my loving family who walk the good red road and who have no judgment against their fellows. Why have you cursed us instead of bringing us new food? And he didn't hear an answer, and he felt he was abandoned by Great Spirit and left alone. But then something miraculous happened. Someone discovered that when running, the mosquito wouldn't bite them. And so they all began to run, and they didn't even know exactly, and what was really fully going on, except that the faster that they ran, the more that the mosquito would not bite them. At some point down the road, once they had been running for a period of time, they realized the mosquito had stopped biting them and it was no longer around them. So they came to a halt and they were at rest, catching their breath, and then looked around and noticed the fields around them were plentiful, lush and green, a field they'd never seen before, a place they had never come to, because their stagnation kept them in the same field that was no longer full of vegetation, nutrition for their body and mind and soul. And the mosquito, though uncomfortable, inspired them to move. And I noticed this same mosquito medicine coming through during these ascension symptoms, and the kind of cleaning that I've done the past 2 days is remarkable. The amount of motion that I have participated in also stopped a lot of the unpleasant aspects of the vibration in the body. It's very fascinating. And so I didn't plan on telling that story. As an old I was told it by an elder from the Navajo Nation, though I know this is a story that's told in many nations, many of the First Peoples nations. So, and a lot of people are changing location all around the world. Some people are moving changing countries. Like Vegan Vixen here says the same. Yes, yes, yes. I can't settle here, and I need to be somewhere, but I don't know where. Many people are also finding that they're choosing to liberate their the grounded life, rooted life is a better word, and choosing the van life, right, or the traveling home, whether it be an RV or a van that's been converted, or all these different things. And not even so much for cost or anything like that, but this is the experience that their soul craves. Many of us have this migration spirit, this gypsy spirit. It's a beautiful thing. The word gypsy to me doesn't have anything to do with ethnic. This is like a way of life. It's similar to using a word like hippie, and it's living off and with the land and emotion always. And there's a lot of people that are finding themselves realizing that's who they are. Yeah, I'm not about the crowds either, Cosmic Detective. When you mentioned earlier, Vegan Vixen, about the protest, I don't want to go to a fair, and they're happy. See me sometimes, I guess. But anyway, yeah, just large groups of people are just not my favorite thing right now. Not my cup of tea. Amanda Lawrence and also Lisa Wetzel great one about September. Seems to be an important month. I've never heard of Lisa Wetzel before. Um, Thank you for your comment, Tommy. Yeah, September is really going to be, and September isn't even. September's like the first course of this. I mean, we thought August might have been that, but this is us just preparing, being made ready for it. Is how I get it. I take it. I feel it. Yes, yes, I'm with you. Oh, to let you guys talk to each other. Excuse me. Um, Hi, all. Sending love with violet flames, says Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Staying present and soothing as it all shifts and bees. Thank you, love. Thank you, Dawn, for your comment. Thank you for being here. There's some really awesome light codes coming in that we can all let ourselves absorb. And one of those I've really been noticing some beautiful violet codes on the daylight light. I don't know if you guys have been noticing that. If you guys haven't had a chance yet, Guardian all week last week did a marathon of every single day doing a guided meditation with the violet flame. We are in the year of transmutation. The year of the snake is transmutation in the way the medicine of what snake is transmutation and shedding things that don't serve you. And so Guardian did every day, Monday through Friday last week, went live and did a guided meditation. I encourage each and every one of you who have the opportunity to do so to go check that out on his channel at the at symbol J dot Zoltan, Zoltan, and on YouTube, and you'll be able to find his channel if you've not found his channel before. And he's done these violet flame meditations every day. It's really awesome and useful. So I go to mid Milford on my sail down to Devon and Cornwall. Awesome. The mosquitoes story resonates so much. Thanks, Lyra. Yeah, I was surprised I even told that story or that came up, but that's very one of I remember I got told that story because I was annoyed by being told that there was a purpose for everything. And I was like, oh yeah, mosquito, go. I dare you. Like what purpose could the mosquito have more than this purpose of motivation? It also codes with your DNA. It codes the dragonfly, which eats 100 mosquitoes a day. It also codes the bat, who eat far more than that. I don't know how many mosquitoes a bat eats in a day. The ones that we've had typically in the north, I don't know what they are around here, but anyway, and they are coded then with your DNA and able to assist you more. It's really fascinating how there really is. I remember my grandfather used to say a weed is a plant you just don't know what to do with yet, and we'll see that is becoming more and more obvious these days. Jim says Australian Aboriginals always moved. That's right. There's a natural flow of things. If you look at every culture, all of the indigenous people of every culture, every land mass, I guess is what I meant to say instead of culture, you'll see this migratory lifestyle. And it's often been depicted or portrayed in media and movies and stuff as being like uncertain and you never know, you got to go because of the winter, but it's actually what you want to do. Everyone has this natural flow, and this concept of putting down your roots and staying in that one spot is never used. Most people will travel in their life because of that. They're either on vacation or trips for work, but they'll find themselves doing these types of things to fill that need. When before we used to have, main centers, like this is where you go in this 4 months of the year, and so that's your home, and there are roots there, but there are roots over here too, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's really fascinating if you look at this. Thank you, Jim. Don says, yes, same Mila. It is all amazing beauty in everything. Aho, it really is. Where I am has been a cocoon that I have emerged from. Awesome, Omega. Welcome. Welcome to the other side. Um, there are people who are attempting to make gypsy life illegal, says Omega. And I agree. Um, I also notice as these things are breaking down, these systems are breaking down, that it's coming forward more and more. Uh, Government and all of the other groups, so it's very, very cool to see it's being dissolved, or it's dissolving itself. Vegan Vixen says, I have flashbacks of me in a black hooded cloak walking the hills looking for herbs. I'm very drawn to the druids, so I think that it's my link to my beloved Welsh valleys. Awesome. This is more common than you think. I'm happy that you're able to draw back to that lifetime, because this is the time that we're all meant to draw from, which is fun too, because it's really not as long ago. It's not as long ago as it actually seems, based particularly based in the Tower of Babel that they presented us with our false history, the timeline that they have uh, created to try to confuse. Hi, good to see you, Lavender Sky Panther. My symptoms have diminished since I stopped the news and being so much on social media. Just saying. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for saying that. It's very true. And I've been noticing that too. I know people have been like, "Hey, where have you been? How come you haven't been on Facebook?" I'll pop on sometimes, but I just go into download mode and kind of get distracted, and it's my soul doesn't want me to focus on those things. I'm not clicking videos on YouTube. I'm not really doing any of these things right now at all, and I feel like everybody's different, though. Yeah, that's definitely where I am. And I haven't watched the news. Oh gosh. I don't know. I heard about when like two or three things have happened since, like, the election. You know what I mean? Like, it's not been, and most of those times, all of those except for one, has been through just happy to see him. I mean, I can say that life is so much better when I don't watch. I didn't really watch before either. It always bothered me that the social studies teachers made you bring news to a school every day, and like you had to buy your grade because we didn't watch the news at home either. And you had to have a newspaper and show that you have a newspaper, you have access to a newspaper every week. You know, like, I don't know. It was only 25 cents, but I remember being like, how come I have to pay to pass this class? Like, that sounds like, prostitution or something. You know what I mean? Interesting how the outside world is getting louder and louder. So it's especially important to stay away from the news, etc., and go within. Oh, thank you, Tommy. And Cosmic Detective, I'm sure that was the conversation that I clicked on. I have to get going. It's 4:04. I have to get going. And um, thank you all for this awesome conversation. And um, I want to say a big thank you to all of you who sent love donations and awesome birthday gifts to Maddie. You made her birthday be so amazing. It was so awesome. It was so cool. And having that week off was actually more important than I realized for me as well. That was really the bulk of what we're talking about these ascension symptoms. Is that when it started was around the time that I stepped out. I did come on in the middle of it from that Wednesday, and I was feeling like I was hungover. My body felt like I was hungover, and I haven't had alcohol in this body for quite some time, and for me to have had that sensation. Um, anyway, but she had the most amazing birthday. It was beautiful, and I am so touched that so many of you helped us out. And I just want to say a deep, heartfelt appreciation, gratitude. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for making my daughter's life and birthday be so amazing. So Thank you so much. Um, I see you, Amanda. I know you just got in here, and I'm getting ready to go. I'm new, just thrown to here, wondering what this is. This is a we're talking about ascension symptoms. Ascension symptoms are a profound change in mind and or body that occur over a period of time. Often they're associated with physical sensations that are unpleasant. We often will uh, uh, assume that it's an individual personal experience that's happening when we don't connect outside of our little sphere here there, and we assume that if there's something else going on, we'll WebMD it or go to a doctor. They often won't know what's wrong with us, but they'll still very frequently suggest a medication. The medication covers up the symptom and then brings whatever else with it. And so these gatherings allow us to communicate the bulk of these weird things that are happening in the body. It also includes an evolution of spirit and soul, the mind part, and so access to a lot of spiritual abilities like psychic and clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairs, all the clairs, and the ability to um, intuitively know um, the the world that we're in, and what it is that we're um, uh, uh, transmuting. Often will have physical sensations, so we can then look on an underlying level of it and see, okay, so if this area of my body's in discomfort, what emotion is connected to the liver? So we'll Google it, whatever the internet research. I don't use Google typically, but that's just like the verb that this age uses now for searching things. Anyway, typing in what emotion is connected to the liver, and then it'll say, hey, it is anger. And so, oh, okay, there's stuff with anger that's unresolved that's causing me to have physical sensations, so my body can say, hey, I need attention. That's why pain exists. Pain is there for us to know there's something that needs to be addressed. And so we can find that underlying emotion body too. So there's a lot, and then there's a lot of that. If you go back, and I'm finishing this conversation for today. If you go back and look at the bulk of this conversation, you'll find that we're contrasting and comparing most recent ascension symptoms and being able to figure out that we're not alone, that we're not the only ones having it. So thank you very much for coming in. I'm a tarot reader, guessing that's why I was thrown here by YouTube. Well, welcome. I hope you come back. Oh, P Factor, thank you so much. Lemon characters doing shoulder shimmy dance moves. Thank you so much, P Factor. I've missed you. I've been thinking about you lately. How are things going? Well, I ask and now I'm going to leave. Yep, I'm on here every week. I come on every Sunday at the same time. So I started an hour and 9 minutes ago, and well, I guess I started an hour and 8 minutes ago. I was a minute late. And we do come on every week, and then on Wednesdays and Fridays I have a guest. So anyone who wants to come on the show and be a guest on the show will email me. You can find my email in the link or in the description of this video, or at least on my channel. There's a link to the Telegram group in the channel. And you can find me that way as well. But yeah, if you're interested in coming on the show, then people will send me a message, and they join me, and we have awesome esoteric spiritual conversations. It's been really fun to see the amount of people that have reached out lately. So anyway, thank you for joining us, and thank you so much, all of you, for being here and for being so welcoming of all the new people. It's really fun. You'll love the people who are in the audience here, Amanda. This is a really fun group. Please come back next week, says Lyra. It's a great open group of nice, supportive people. It really is. It's so much fun. I'll usually skip when there's an @ symbol next to it, so you guys can have a private conversation or semi, private. But just join, says Charmony Heart 888. Heart hugs to all. Holy shiz. We are truly super duper uber strong to have made it through so much and still going through it. Up, up, up. Sending you love. We are it. Sending you love. Thank you for that comment. I love all of you. I will be back on Wednesday. Wednesday, I have Guardian coming. I've reached out to Yolanda Marie. I'm pretty sure she may be able to come. I'm not sure, but if she can, it'll be the three of us. If not, it'll be Guardian and I this coming Wednesday's show, and it'll be a really fun gathering. And then also, pretty sure that Layla Wynn is coming on Friday. I need to double check that. So anyway, I look forward to seeing all of you at that time and sending you all so much love. Remember that you got this. You're not alone. And it's just going to get better. But yeah, there's some pretty amazing things happening right now, so sending you all so much love. I hope